The village that learned to hack the world. Jharkhand, India. Year 2013-2014. The sun was going down behind the dusty fields of Jamtara, painting the sky orange. From outside, the place looked like any small rural district in India. Buffaloes tied near mud houses, kids playing cricket barefoot, men sipping chai at roadside stalls. But behind those cracked walls, phones were ringing non-stop. SIM cards were stacked like poker chips, and teenagers, barely old enough to shave, were pulling off scams worth lakhs of rupees. Yeah, real money, fast money, dirty money. The first suspicion. Inside the Jharkhand police headquarters, a group of officers sat around a table piled with complaint files. Inspector Ashok Kumar flipped through pages, his eyebrows tightening. "Yo, dis ain't normal," he muttered. Sub-Inspector Ravi Singh leaned forward. "What now, sir?" Ashok tossed a file toward him. "Look at this pattern. Bank fraud complaints. Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Jaipur, all over the map. Same script, same trick." Ravi scanned the paper. Victims said they got calls from bank officers. They were told, "Sir, your ATM card will be blocked. Ma'am, verify your OTP. Quick, update your KYC. Classic phishing. But the weird part? All call locations traced back to one area, Jamtara. Ravi looked up. "You serious? That tiny place?" Ashok nodded slowly. "Yeah, bro, that tiny place." The boys who discovered easy money. Village Karmatand, inside Jamtara district. A group of teenagers sat under a banyan tree, cheap smartphones in their hands, SIM cards scattered across the ground. One of them, Pradeep Mandal, leaned back, grinning. "Dude, you won't believe this," he said. His friend Vikas Mandal raised an eyebrow. "What now?" Pradeep tapped his phone. "I just made 25,000 rupees in like 10 minutes. Silence. Then laughter. "Stop messing around, man," Vikas said. "I ain't joking," Pradeep replied. He showed the phone screen. Bank transfer confirmed. 25,000 rupees credited. The boys froze. "Bro, how?" another boy whispered. Pradeep smirked. "Simple trick. You call people, act like bank officer, get OTP, boom, money's yours." Vikas leaned closer. "That's it?" Pradeep nodded. "Yup, easy cash, no sweat." And just like that, a spark was lit. Where it all started. Back in the early 2010s, mobile phones had just started spreading fast across rural India. Cheap SIM cards, basic smartphones, limited awareness about cyber safety. Perfect storm. Some local boys had worked as helpers in cities like Delhi and Kolkata. There they overheard conversations, bank processes, OTP verification systems, customer care scripts. They didn't fully understand technology, but they understood people, and people could be fooled. The script that changed everything. Nighttime. Inside a small hut lit by a dim bulb, 4 boys sat around a notebook. Pradeep read aloud. "Hello, sir. I am calling from State Bank Verification Department. Your ATM card verification pending. Please share OTP immediately." He stopped. "What you think?" Vikas snapped his fingers. "Sounds legit, bro." Another boy added, "Use English words. People trust that." They practiced voices, formal tone, confident speech, fake professionalism, over and over, like actors rehearsing lines, until it sounded real, too real. The first big score. One evening, Pradeep dialed a number from a list, phone ringing, heart pounding. Click. A man answered. "Hello?" Pradeep straightened his back. "Good evening, sir. This is Pradeep calling from State Bank Verification Department." His voice sounded smooth, professional. Even he was surprised. The man replied calmly. "Yes?" Pradeep continued. "Sir, your ATM card is about to be blocked due to incomplete verification." Pause. Hook set. "What should I do?" the man asked. Pradeep winked at his friends. "Sir, just share the OTP you received on your phone." Silence. Then, beep. Message received. OTP shared. Transaction initiated. 48,000 rupees transferred. Done. Game over. They stared at the phone. Processing. Processing. Confirmed. 48,000 rupees credited. The hut exploded with cheers. Yo, we did it! Bro, this is crazy! Man, we rich now! That night, none of them slept. They kept checking the balance again and again, like it might disappear. But it didn't. The money was real, and that changed everything. The boom begins. Word spread fast, real fast. Within months, more teenagers joined, more SIM cards bought, more bank accounts opened under fake identities, more victims targeted. Fields turned into call centers, literally. Boys sat in open farms calling strangers across India. Why fields? Better network signal, less suspicion. One boy joked, "Yo, bro, we farmin' money now, not crops." Everyone laughed, but deep down, they knew it was working. Too well. The lifestyle shift. Soon, mud houses turned into concrete buildings. Motorcycles appeared outside huts. Gold chains hung around skinny teenage necks. Villagers noticed. "How are these kids making so much money?" elders whispered. Parents didn't ask too many questions. Money was flowing. Bills were getting paid. Families were rising out of poverty. No one wanted to know the truth. Police connect the dots. Back at Jharkhand Police Headquarters, Inspector Ashok slammed a map on the table. Red dots covered one region, Jamtara. Every cyber complaint linked there. Every trace led there. He looked at Ravi. "Yo, we got ourselves a serious problem." Ravi nodded slowly. "What you thinking, sir?" Ashok exhaled. "We raid them." Pause. "But trust me, this ain't gonna be easy." The first raid. Early morning, police jeeps rolled into a small village, dust clouds behind them. Officers jumped out. "Move, move, move!" Doors kicked open, phones seized, SIM cards collected, teenagers caught mid-call. One officer grabbed a boy's phone. He looked at the screen. Ongoing call. Victim online. "Hello, sir. Hello." The officer ended the call, then stared at the boy. "How old are you?" 16, he whispered. The officer blinked. 16. That hit hard. Kids, literal kids, running nationwide scams. The shock discovery. Inside the seized houses, police found hundreds of SIM cards, notebooks filled with phone numbers, ATM cards under fake names, passbooks linked to mule accounts. Inspector Ashok whispered, "Yo, this is bigger than we thought. Way bigger. This wasn't random fraud. This was an organized network, built by teenagers, running like a full-blown business. And this was just the beginning." That first raid exposed only the surface. Behind it was a massive underground operation, spread across villages, connected across states, and growing stronger every day. What shocked the police most? These teenagers weren't scared. They were confident, cocky. One boy even smirked and said, "Sir, arrest us today. Tomorrow, new boys will start again." Ashok stared at him, and deep down, he knew the kid wasn't bluffing.
Inside the scam factory, SIM cards, fake accounts, and million-rupee nights. Early morning fog rolled over the dusty roads of Jamtara. From the outside, everything looked calm. Buffalo carts, tea stalls, kids heading to school. But hidden behind that quiet routine, phones were already ringing, scams were already in motion, and the game was getting bigger, way bigger. After the first raid, back at the district office of Jharkhand Police, Inspector Ashok Kumar sat with a pile of seized materials, SIM cards stacked high, notebooks filled with thousands of numbers, ATM cards tied together with rubber bands. Sub-Inspector Ravi Singh walked in holding a report. "Sir, you gotta see this." Ashok looked up. "What now?" Ravi placed the file on the table. "These numbers we seized, they were calling people in Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and even Bengaluru." Ashok whistled softly. "Dang, that's nationwide." Ravi nodded. And sir, this ain't just a few boys anymore. He paused. This is organized. Ashok leaned back in his chair. Yeah, I figured. The secret supply chain. Meanwhile, in a small roadside shop in a village near Jamtara, a young man counted SIM cards behind the counter. His name was Suresh. Officially, he sold mobile recharge services. Unofficially, he supplied SIM cards to scammers. A teenage boy walked in quietly. "Pai, need 5 more." Suresh didn't even look surprised. "You got the documents?" The boy grinned. "Fake ones, same as always." Suresh shrugged. "Cool, 500 per SIM." The boy handed cash. No questions asked, no hesitation. That shop was one of many. Fake IDs, multiple SIM cards, different states' registrations, all feeding the scam network, like fuel to a fire. The rise of the caller boys. Back in the village, under a large tree near farmland, 10 teenagers sat in a circle, phones in hand, earphones plugged in, notebooks open. This was their office. No uniforms, no desks, but serious business. Pradeep Mondal leaned forward. "All right, guys, listen up." Everyone quieted. Today's target list, fresh numbers from Kolkata. One boy cracked his knuckles. "Let's get this bread." Another laughed. "Yo, bro, easy money day." Pradeep pointed at one of them. "Vikas, you start first." Vikas nodded, dialed a number. Phone ringing. Everyone watched. Click. "Hello?" Vikas switched his voice instantly. Professional, calm. "Good afternoon, sir. This is Vikas from Bank Verification Department." The performance had begun. How they learned to talk like professionals. These teenagers weren't random callers anymore. They trained themselves, like actors, practicing daily. They watched videos, copied customer care language, learned basic English phrases. Simple tricks like, "Sir, don't worry. Ma'am, it's urgent. Please verify now." Confidence was everything. If they sounded nervous, victims doubted. But if they sounded confident, victims trusted. One evening, Vikas practiced in front of a mirror. "Sir, your ATM card will be blocked today." He paused, then repeated, "Sir, your ATM card will be blocked today." Again and again, until it sounded real, smooth, convincing, deadly. The bank account mule system. Money didn't go directly to scammers. That would be risky. So they built another system, account mules. People willing to open bank accounts for cash. Poor villagers, daily wage workers, sometimes even outsiders. They were offered quick money, $3,000, $5,000, sometimes $10,000, just to open a bank account. One night, a middle-aged man sat nervously inside a house. Pradeep handed him papers. "Just sign here." The man hesitated. "What's this for?" Pradeep smiled casually. "Nothing shady, uncle, just business use." The man sighed, signed the form, and just like that, another mule account was created. Money stolen from victims flowed into these accounts, then withdrawn quickly before banks could react.
Months passed. Operations expanded. More callers joined. More SIM cards added. More bank accounts opened. One evening, the group gathered inside a half-built concrete house. Pradeep checked his phone, then froze. His eyes widened. "Yo, guys, check this out." Everyone leaned in. Bank balance displayed. 9,82,000 rupees. Nearly 10 lakh. Silence filled the room. Then, "Bro, we almost did 10 lakh. Man, this is insane. Yo, we ballin' now." Laughter echoed through the house. That night, they celebrated. Cheap speakers blasting music, motorcycles revving loudly, money flowing like water. But none of them realized the louder they lived, the easier they were to notice. Police dig deeper. Back at the cyber unit office, Inspector Ashok studied transaction reports. Ravi entered again. "Sir, banks confirmed." Ashok hit up. "Confirmed what?" Ravi spoke slowly. "These mule accounts, money gets withdrawn within minutes." Ashok nodded. "Smart move. They're covering tracks." Ravi added, "And sir, some accounts linked to villagers who don't even understand banking." Ashok slammed his fist lightly on the table. "Man, they're exploiting poor people now." His frustration was growing, because this wasn't just fraud anymore. It was becoming a full-scale network. million-dollar nights. Back in Jamtara, nighttime operations were peak hours, less distractions, more victims answering calls. Under dim bulbs, phones kept ringing, click after click, OTP after OTP, transaction after transaction. One night, Vikas completed a call. "Got it," he whispered. Pradeep checked the account. 120,000 rupees transferred. "Dang, that's a big one," Pradeep said. Another boy finished a call. 75,000. Another, 52,000. Within hours, they crossed 5 lakh in a single night. They stared at each other in disbelief. "Yo, this feels unreal. Man, we're printing money." They laughed, but somewhere far away, victims were crying. Savings gone, trust broken, life savings wiped out in minutes. The expensive lifestyle begins. Money changed everything. Motorcycles appeared first, then cars, then expensive smartphones. Some boys even built 2-story houses. Villagers whispered among themselves, "How are these kids so rich?" But nobody spoke openly, because money brings silence, and silence protects crime. Police received national attention. Soon, complaints flooded in from across India. Cyber fraud numbers skyrocketed. Government agencies took notice. Investigators from different states contacted Jharkhand police. One evening, Ashok received a call. "Inspector Ashok Kumar speaking?" Voice from the other end. "This is Officer Sharma from Delhi Police Cyber Cell." Ashok straightened up. "Yes?" Sharma continued. "We traced multiple fraud cases, all leading to Jamtara." Ashok closed his eyes briefly. "Yeah, same here." Sharma sighed. "Looks like we got a national-level mess." Ashok replied quietly. "Yeah, and it's growing fast." The moment police realized the truth. Late night, files spread across the table, maps pinned to walls, transaction trails connecting villages. Inspector Ashok stared at the board, then whispered, "Yo, this ain't random crime." Ravi looked at him. "What do you mean?" Ashok tapped the map. "This is an industry." Silence filled the room. An industry run by teenagers from remote villages, targeting the entire country and making crores. Meanwhile, confidence turns into arrogance. Back in Jamtara, the boys had become fearless. One night, sitting outside a new house, Vikas laughed loudly. "Yo, cops can't stop us." Pradeep smirked. "Even if they arrest us, new guys will take our place." Another boy added, "Bro, this game ain't ending anytime soon." They believed they were untouchable, invincible, but they didn't know police were preparing something bigger, much bigger.
The nationwide crackdown, raids, arrests, and the cat-and-mouse game. Night had fallen over Jamtara. The air felt heavy, not just with heat, but with tension, because now this wasn't just a local issue anymore. Police forces across India were getting involved, and the hunters were closing in. The first multi-state alarm. Inside the cyber cell office of Delhi Police, officers sat around glowing computer screens. Complaint after complaint kept coming in. Same story, same method, same fraud pattern. An officer named Inspector Rajesh Sharma leaned back in his chair. "This ain't just coincidence," he muttered. Another officer looked at the data. "Sir, every trace ends in Jharkhand." Rajesh tapped the screen. Specifically, he zoomed in on the map. Jamtara. Silence filled the room. Everyone knew now. This wasn't random fraud. It was organized, systematic, industrial. Police teams joined forces. Soon, officers from multiple states coordinated with Jharkhand police. Teams from Mumbai police, Kolkata police, and Hyderabad police began sharing information. Transaction logs, phone call records, bank trails, victim statements. Inspector Ashok Kumar sat in a joint meeting. A senior officer from Mumbai spoke firmly. "We are losing crores every month." Another officer added, "Public trust in banks is dropping." Ashok nodded. "We need coordinated raids, simultaneous ones." Rajesh Sharma agreed. "Hit them fast, hit them everywhere."
The room went silent. Operation planning had begun. Inside Jamtara, the lookout system. Meanwhile, in the villages of Jamtara, scammers had their own defense system. Lookout boys, teenagers positioned on rooftops or near village roads, watching, waiting, ready to alert. One afternoon, a skinny boy named Sonu stood near a dusty road, binoculars in hand. Suddenly, he spotted police jeeps in the distance, dust rising behind them. His heart raced. "Yo, cops!" He grabbed his phone, dialed quickly. Inside a nearby house, Pradeep's phone buzzed. He answered. "Yeah?" Sonu spoke fast. "Police vehicles heading your way." Pradeep jumped up instantly. "Guys, shut it down." Phones switched off, SIM cards removed. Some were smashed, others thrown into water buckets. Within minutes, the entire setup vanished, like it never existed. The cat and mouse game begins. Police entered the village minutes later, boots hitting the ground, doors opened, rooms searched, but most phones were gone, SIM cards missing, evidence destroyed. Inspector Ashok looked frustrated. "Dang, they getting tipped off." Ravi nodded. "Yes, sir, they got watchers everywhere." Ashok clenched his jaw. "This ain't gonna be easy." The raid that shocked everyone. Early morning, before sunrise, police teams surrounded another village quietly. This time, no warning, no escape. They moved fast, door after door. Inside one small room, a teenage boy sat on a bed, phone pressed to his ear. "Sir, please share your OTP." Before he finished, the door burst open. "Police!" The boy froze. Phone slipped from his hand. Officer grabbed it immediately. Active call still running. Victim voice heard faintly. "Hello? Hello?" The officer disconnected, then turned to the boy. "How many calls today?" The boy whispered. 20. 20 calls before breakfast. That hit hard. The arrests begin. Over the next few weeks, dozens of boys were arrested, many between 15 and 22 years old, some still in school uniforms. Inspector Ashok watched as one boy was led to the jeep. He looked barely 17. Ashok sighed. "Man, kids ruining their own future." The boy looked down silently. Fear had replaced arrogance. For the first time, reality hit. The media enters the scene. News reporters soon arrived, cameras rolling, microphones raised. Journalists walked through villages, filming expensive houses, motorcycles, luxury phones, all owned by teenagers. One reporter spoke into camera. "This small district of Jamtara has become India's biggest hub for cyber fraud." Another added, "Experts now call it," pause, "the phishing capital of India." That phrase spread fast, across TV channels, across newspapers, across the internet. Jamtara became infamous overnight.
Families started feeling the pressure. Back in the village, parents began to worry. Police visits increased. Media attention grew. Neighbors whispered more. One evening, Pradeep sat silently at home. His mother looked at him. "You earning money, but how?" He avoided eye contact. "Just business stuff." She stared at him. "Police came here yesterday." Pradeep froze. Silence filled the room. Fear was creeping in, even at home. Victims speak out. Meanwhile, across cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru, victims began reporting cases in large numbers. One elderly man sat inside a police station, hands trembling. "I lost 3 lakh rupees, my retirement savings," he said quietly. Officer wrote notes carefully. "How did it happen?" The man sighed. "They called, said my bank account will be blocked." His voice broke slightly. "I trusted them." Stories like this kept piling up, and each story added pressure on police. The smartest trick: fake towers. During investigations, police discovered something shocking. Some scammers were using illegal mobile signal boosters to improve call connectivity in remote areas. That allowed them to call continuously without interruptions. Inspector Ravi stared at seized equipment. "Yo, they upgrading tech now." Ashok shook his head slowly. "These kids learning fast, faster than expected." A turning point: arrest.
One night, police captured a key operator, a boy known locally as Master Caller. He had trained dozens of others, known for convincing even suspicious victims. Inside the interrogation room, Ashok sat across from him. "So, how many people you trained?" The boy smirked slightly. "Maybe 50. Ashok leaned forward. "50?" The boy nodded casually. "Yeah, new callers every month." Ashok exhaled slowly. That confirmed the worst fear. This wasn't stopping anytime soon. New scammers kept replacing old ones like waves, endless waves. Technology versus street smarts. Police improved their methods too. Call tracking, tower location tracing, bank transaction monitoring. But scammers adapted, changed SIM cards daily, moved locations frequently, used fake identities. Every move by police was countered by scammers, like a chess game. Confidence starting cracking. Back in Jamtara, the mood was changing. Fear had entered the game. One night, Vikas whispered to Pradeep, "Bro, too many raids lately." Pradeep nodded slowly. "Yeah, things heating up." Another boy added nervously, "What if they catch us next?" Silence followed. For the first time, they weren't laughing. They were worried. The reality of consequences. Inside a local jail, several arrested boys sat quietly. No phones, no money, no freedom, just walls. One teenager whispered, "Man, we messed up." Another nodded slowly, "Yeah, this ain't worth it." But outside, others were still running scams, still chasing fast money, still ignoring the danger. And the war was just getting started. Police had arrested many, but the network was still alive, still growing, still evolving. And now, national agencies were preparing to step in, because what started as small village scams had turned into one of India's biggest cybercrime threats. Inside the empire, crores, betrayals, and the fall of the network. The heat of the afternoon hung heavy over Jamtara, but the atmosphere inside the villages felt even heavier, because things were changing. Police pressure was rising, raids were increasing, and inside the scam network, trust was starting to crack. The Crore Club. By now, some scammers had crossed a level that once felt impossible. Lakhs turned into crores. Money that once came slowly now flowed like a river. One evening, inside a newly built two-story house, Pradeep sat counting cash bundles, rubber bands wrapped tightly around stacks of notes. Vikas stared in disbelief. "Bro, how much is that?" Pradeep smirked. "Almost 1.2 crores worth of earnings last year." Silence, then a low whistle. "Dang, we really made it big," Vikas muttered. Another boy leaned back on a sofa. "Yo, we livin' like kings now." But deep down, they all knew something else. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. Luxury in the middle of poverty. Villages that once looked poor now showed strange contrasts. Small mud houses next to luxury buildings, motorcycles parked beside bullock carts, expensive smartphones in teenage hands. Villagers whispered among themselves, "How are these boys making so much money?" Some guessed, some stayed silent, because money had changed everything. Respect, power, influence, even fear. The hidden weakness, ego. Success brought arrogance. Arrogance brought mistakes. One night, a group of scammers gathered inside a half-constructed building. Music blasting loudly, lights flashing, drinks on the table. Vikas laughed loudly. "Yo, police can't stop us, man." Another boy added, "Even if they arrest some guys, new ones always join." Pradeep leaned back confidently. "We got connections now, nobody touching us." But someone in that room was listening carefully, watching quietly, and soon would betray them. The first betrayal. Money changes friendships, and greed breaks loyalty. One of the gang members, Rakesh, had grown angry. He felt cheated, underpaid, ignored. One evening, he sat alone outside a tea stall, thinking, frustrated. A police jeep passed slowly nearby. Rakesh watched it, then looked down at his phone. His hands trembled slightly. Finally, he made a decision. He dialed a number. "Hello? Police station?" Pause. "I want to give information." That single call changed everything. Inside the informer deal. Later that night, Rakesh sat across from Inspector Ashok Kumar, inside a small room at the local office of Jharkhand Police. Ashok looked directly into his eyes. "You sure you want to talk?" Rakesh swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." Ashok leaned forward. "Then start talking." Rakesh took a deep breath. They work in groups, 10 to 15 boys each, different locations every day. Ashok listened silently. SIM cards bought in bulk, fake documents used. Rakesh continued. Money transferred to mule accounts, then withdrawn within minutes. Every detail mattered. Every word added another piece to the puzzle. Ashok finally spoke. "Why telling us all this?" Rakesh looked down. "They cheated me, didn't give my full share." Ashok nodded slowly. Greed, always the weak point. The biggest raid yet. Armed with inside information, police prepared for a massive operation. Multiple teams, multiple villages, simultaneous action. Before sunrise, police vehicles moved quietly, engines off, headlights dim. Officers waited silently in position. Ashok whispered into his radio, "Move in, now." Doors burst open. Officers rushed inside houses. Phones seized instantly. SIM cards collected before they could be destroyed. Teenagers caught mid-call. One officer grabbed a notebook, hundreds of numbers written inside. Another found stacks of ATM cards, more evidence than ever before. This raid hit harder than any previous one. Shock discovery. The training system. Inside one seized building, police discovered something unexpected. A classroom-like setup. Plastic chairs arranged in rows. Whiteboard at the front. English phrases written on it. "Good morning, sir. Your account verification pending. Please share OTP." Inspector Ravi stared at the board. "Yo, they're running training classes now?" Ashok shook his head slowly. "This ain't crime anymore. This is business." That moment confirmed the worst truth. Cybercrime had become an organized industry. Major arrests shake the network. After the raids, several key operators were arrested. Some of the most experienced callers, the trainers, the leaders. Inside one interrogation room, Vikas sat quietly. No jokes, no laughter, just silence. Ashok placed a file on the table. "Know how many complaints linked to you?" Vikas avoided eye contact. Ashok opened the file. Over 200 victims. Silence filled the room. Reality had arrived, hard, cold, unavoidable. Fear spread across villages. News of arrests spread quickly. Phones went silent. Many scammers stopped calling temporarily. Some fled to nearby districts. Others hid inside relatives' homes. The confidence that once filled the air was gone, replaced with fear. One evening, Pradeep sat quietly outside his house, looking at the road, watching every passing vehicle. Vikas whispered, "Bro, what if they come here next?" Pradeep didn't answer immediately, then finally said, "Stay low, no calls for few days." That was new, very new, because stopping meant losing money, but continuing meant risking arrest. Banks tightened security. Meanwhile, banks across cities like Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore started strengthening security systems. OTP alerts improved, transaction monitoring increased, suspicious accounts flagged faster. This made scams harder, not impossible, but harder, and that slowed the flow of money. The psychological breakdown. Money had once brought excitement. Now it brought stress, sleepless nights, constant fear. One night, Vikas sat inside his room, lights off, phone silent. He whispered to himself, "Man, this ain't fun anymore." Outside, sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Every sound felt suspicious. Every shadow felt dangerous. This wasn't power anymore. It was pressure. The fall begins. With arrests increasing, operations shrinking, and informers leaking secrets, the scam empire started showing cracks. Not collapsing yet, but weakening, slowly, steadily, inevitably. Inspector Ashok looked at the latest arrest report, then leaned back in his chair. "Yo, we finally hitting them where it hurts." Ravi nodded. "Yeah, sir, they losing confidence now." Ashok exhaled slowly. But this ain't over yet. And he was right, because one final phase still remained: the aftermath, the consequences, and the lessons that followed.
Morning sunlight slowly spread across Jamtara. The same roads, the same houses, the same dusty fields. But the atmosphere was different now, because the empire that once ran silently from these villages had started to fall apart, and the consequences were finally catching up. The largest crackdowns began. By the late 2010s, police operations became bigger and more aggressive. Cybercrime complaints had reached alarming levels across India. Government pressure increased, and Jharkhand police, along with teams from Delhi police, Mumbai police, and other states, launched multiple large-scale operations. Village after village was searched. House after house was raided. SIM cards seized. Phones confiscated. Fake documents recovered. Inspector Ashok stood outside one house after a long raid. Sweat covered his forehead. He turned to Ravi. "How many today?" Ravi checked his notes. 17 arrests, sir." Ashok nodded slowly. "Good, but still a long way to go." Because even after hundreds of arrests, new scammers kept appearing. That was the hardest part, stopping the cycle. Courtrooms replaced phone calls. Inside district courts, arrested teenagers now faced a different kind of pressure. Legal cases, charges, interrogations. No phones, no quick money, just consequences. One afternoon, Vikas stood quietly inside the courtroom, hands clasped together. Judge reading charges: fraud, cheating, cybercrime violations. His lawyer whispered, "Stay calm, answer only what is asked." Vikas nodded silently, but inside, fear was rising. This wasn't a game anymore. This was real life, real punishment, real consequences. Families feel the impact. Back in the villages, families began facing social pressure. Neighbors whispered, relatives avoided visits. Parents struggled to understand how things had gone so wrong. One evening, Pradeep sat quietly beside his mother. She looked tired, worried. "Why did you do all this?" she asked softly. Pradeep stared at the ground. No answer came, because deep down, he didn't have one. What once felt exciting now felt heavy, like a burden that wouldn't go away. The national spotlight. News coverage kept growing. TV channels ran special reports. Journalists traveled to Jamtara to document the story. One reporter stood in front of a camera. This district, once unknown to most Indians, is now recognized nationally as the hub of cyber fraud. The phrase spread everywhere: "Phishing capital of India." That title stuck, not just in news, but in public memory. The rise of cyber awareness. Meanwhile, authorities realized something important. Arrests alone weren't enough. Public awareness was needed. Banks began running safety campaigns. Police started conducting workshops. People were warned: never share OTP. Banks never ask for passwords. Verify before trusting calls. Across cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, posters appeared in bank branches. Digital safety became a national conversation.
because prevention was stronger than reaction.
For many arrested teenagers, life changed permanently. Some spent months in custody. Others faced years of legal battles. Education stopped. Dreams disappeared. One night, inside a detention room, a young boy whispered quietly, "Man, I wish I never started this." Another replied softly, "Same here. Quick money ruined everything." Those words echoed in the silence, a realization that came too late. The economy behind the crime. Investigators later uncovered shocking numbers. Crores of rupees had been stolen, thousands of victims affected, savings wiped out, trust broken. Some victims lost life savings, others lost retirement funds. Many struggled to recover financially. Inspector Ashok sat reviewing the final investigation report. He exhaled slowly. So much damage from one district. Ravi nodded. "Yeah, sir. Never imagined this scale." How Jamtara became famous worldwide. The story didn't stay inside India. International media picked it up. Cybercrime experts studied the case. Law enforcement agencies worldwide analyzed the methods. Because what started in a small Indian district became a global lesson. Even documentaries and series later focused on this story. One such popular dramatized series was Jamtara, Sabka number Ayega, inspired by real cybercrime incidents from the region. Though dramatized, the core issue remained real. Very real. Technology evolves, so does crime. Even after crackdowns, cybercrime didn't vanish completely. It evolved. New methods emerged. Different scams replaced old ones. But now, law enforcement was better prepared. Cyber cells were expanded. Digital tracking improved. Response times became faster. Inspector Ashok once told a group of trainees, "Crime changes, but so must we." That became the guiding principle. The emotional fallout. Beyond money and arrests, there was emotional damage. Families broken, reputations destroyed, communities labeled. The name Jamtara became associated with cybercrime. Even honest residents suffered stigma. People outside the district viewed the area differently. One elderly villager once said quietly, "Not everyone here is a criminal, but everyone suffers." That sentence carried deep truth. The lessons learned. Years later, looking back at the rise and fall of the phishing empire, certain lessons became clear. Fast money comes with hidden costs. Technology can be used for good or harm, and small actions can create massive consequences. Inspector Ashok stood outside the station one evening, watching the sunset. Ravi joined him. "Sir, think it's finally under control?" Ashok sighed softly. "For now, maybe. But crime never sleeps." Ravi nodded. "Yeah, neither should we." The final reflection. What began as curiosity turned into opportunity. Opportunity became greed. Greed became crime, and crime brought consequences. Teenagers once chasing quick money ended up facing long legal battles. Villages once unknown became famous for the wrong reasons, and a district once quiet entered history as one of India's most infamous cybercrime hubs. The end.